What's going on, YouTube? Welcome and thank you for stopping in. Today I have an unboxing and a first impressions to do for you guys. This comes from a company that I have little experience with. I have checked out one of their knives in the past. This was sent in to me by them. And we'll go ahead and get started with this guy using the Null Knives Raiden. Don't mind my fingers, guys. I use my hands and they are my money makers. So I have this glue that will not come off. I've even used alcohol and mineral spirits and it just will not come out of my skin. So I am stuck this way at least until I can get it off. Sorry if that bothers you. But back to the knife. We will go ahead and cut this guy open. It's a pretty big box for what's in here, but as long as what is in here is what I'm after, that is all that matters. So we have a packing slip there, and that is all for in the box. We'll toss that out to the side. So this comes from Remet Knives. They sent me in this guy to check out in the past. This is called the Remet hand feel. I will link the unboxing up above in a card for you to check out if you have not seen it. For the price point, I've been pretty happy with this guy. They have done a whole name change, a brand change, and they are really trying to hone in on putting out a good knife. They have dabbled in the budget area, and they also, from what I've seen, they dabble in, like the $200 price point as well. And I am interested in looking at one of those here in the future. And I look forward to when that happens. So this one, from what I gather from Remet and from Amazon, which is where you can find these knives. So you have just a top two-part box and a plastic baggie, and that is all for your packaging. So from what I gather, this is more on the tactical side, focusing more on the tactical side over EDC. So this is the Remet GD, let me get this right here. It is the GD22K. And right off the bat, I like the slim profile. I like the Tanto blade shape. You can see that this must be before they changed the name. So they used to be the QYG MGS, and they have since went to Remet, REMETTE. And I definitely think that was the way to go. Something that you can correlate with the knives. The lettering, which was an abbreviation, I believe, for something. The QYGMGS was an abbreviation for something. And it's just a little, it's too complex. It's not very simple. And I think one of the other things that they started doing since dropping this knife is they started giving their knives that they come out with an actual name. Now, GD22K, I guess you could classify as a model name, but I would prefer it if it was, the Remet, crawler or whatever, instead of some numbers and letters, just to make it easier. It's hard for people to locate knives as it is, and without them having, a proper identification, so to speak, it's this knife, that's the name of it. That makes it so much simpler to locate the knife. It makes it easier to, correlate to someone. It's just easier to transfer the data to someone. So they are in the process of doing quite a bit of changing. So I know they are trying to go with, minimal to no branding on their blades or on the handles. One of the recommendations that I had for them was, if you're going to do a sterile knife, do a completely sterile knife. Keep the pocket clip black, just keep it all blacked out. No naming on the pocket clip. If anything, I would prefer to see some sort of logo on the pivot or a small logo up by the tang of the knife. That just keeps it so much cleaner. It makes it look a lot more premium, even if it's not. For instance, if you didn't see this lettering, that branding on the front of the blade, you wouldn't know if this was a $20 knife or a $120 knife, just because of the sleekness that it would have without that lettering there. It just makes it look so much cleaner, so much more professional, just looks better. So that is the first piece of advice that I can give, and I know they have already taken that into consideration and are working on that. See, I like the look of this clip here. Nothing on it, a nice rollover clip. The clip isn't recessed and the screws aren't recessed, but it looks like you have a good amount of room there to get in and out of the pocket. We shall see about that. The only thing I would recommend is put the steel marking on the back and leave that as the only marking or branding on the knife. That's the way I think it should be, and I think that would be the cleanest, best option for any knife company, any knife company at all. But if I'm talking to Remet here, that would be my piece of advice as far as that goes. They are using D2 steel here on that coated Tanto blade. And I would say that the coating looks very well done, in my opinion. You have a pretty average blade stock, and it feels like it comes down pretty thin. We'll go ahead and cut something here shortly. These are retailing for like $35, I believe, which for, properly heat treated D2, they have, I believe, 2 or 3 different options of this knife here. And it's, like I said, it's more tactical based than it is EDC based. Like this guy here, you have flipper only, very sleek, very minimal. You have that aggressive Tanto blade shape. You do have a flipper only, and I would say that they did that pretty well. You can light switch it, push button it. Action is pretty crisp and clean. We'll check centering here. The centering is right on point. So very good job from Hermet. And we got to keep in mind here, guys, this is a knife that costs under 40 bucks. So, you know, good build quality, D2 steel, which, you know, it doesn't get, D2 doesn't get quite the recognition from the majority that it should. D2 is a good steel, especially when it is heat treated properly. D2 can be a very well-rounded steel, in my opinion, and it's just factual. No, it's not a super steel. No, it doesn't jump off the charts on edge retention or corrosion resistance or toughness, but it is pretty well-rounded among those three categories. And that's, you know, that's, in my book, I would much rather have a well-rounded steel than one that does very good in one thing and then the other two it really slacks. Now, I do have some knives that are just edge retention and they're not tough, they're not corrosion resistant, and I do have knives like that, and that's, you know, that's all fine and good. But do I prefer those over a well-rounded 154 CM at the end of the day? No, probably not. I would take the 154 CM, the S30 or S35. You know, I like well-rounded steels because I actually, not only do I need some edge retention, but I need some toughness. I need some corrosion resistance because I'm going to be using them in dirty environments, work environments. For instance, guys, this is the knife I carried today, the Concept Main Street, and it is filled with brick dust and dirt and all kinds of stuff because I was installing doors today in a brick house and we had a lot of work to do, and that involved cutting bricks up in order to install the door. So I need knives that are gonna last, you know, not just the edge, but the blade itself. So back to this guy, it looks like, let's do a check quick. If this is the case, I'm gonna be pretty happy. So you have T8 on the pivot. Oh, they went T6. All right, that's, I was thinking it looked like T8, but that's all right. That's normal. Companies are starting to work away from that. That would be another suggestion that I would have for Hermet, is if you're going to do a knife like this, especially being so simple, you have one pivot screw, one body screw, and then you got your two clip screws and then another tooled pivot side. Go T8 all the way around. Then you only need one bit in order to take the knife apart. It just makes it much more user friendly. You have good access to that liner. Easy to manipulate. It's getting broken in. I can feel it. You have an open construction. You do have just one barrel spacer there, so it's pretty open, be very easy to keep clean. It's a pretty good size knife as well. I'm gonna guess that's close to a 5-inch handle, or a very close. Let's give it a quick measurement and we'll cut something. Yeah, just about 5 inches. It's like 4 3/4. So it's definitely a good size. Let's go ahead and get an overall. This is the Stanley Fatty. So it's about 8.5. And when we do the full overview, guys, we'll jump into more of that stuff. This is just an unboxing, first impressions. You do have a deep carry steel rollover clip. You're only going to have a little tiny bit poking out of the pocket there, which in a tactical situation, that would be good. You want to be able to get it out fast and deploy it fast, and I think that's what they were going for here. But definitely look for the full overview of this guy. I have to think that Remet is redoing these knives with the new branding under their new brand. I think this was kind of just a test sample that they sent me, or what was left over of this batch. But I am pretty impressed with this being under $40, and I believe this typically has a coupon code associated with it, so you're gonna get it for even less. Let me check and see. So it's coming in at 35 even, and right now it has a 5% off coupon code, so you're probably gonna get it right around 30 bucks, and that's a pretty good deal as long as, you know, it continues to hold up and do well. Lockup looks pretty good there, holding strong about I'd say like 40% or so, which is perfect. Yeah, it's starting to break in on bearings. I can't tell if that's a ceramic detent ball or not, but it's nice and clean, nice open design. I think I might like this a little bit more than this, and I'm not sure why. I kind of like this guy a little bit more. I like the blade shape. I like the thin profile. So my first impressions of this guy are pretty good. You know, we got to keep in mind, guys, $35. So I am going to look at this as a $35 knife. I'm not going to compare this to knives that cost $100 or $200. I'm comparing this to other knives that cost $35, or just I'm looking at it as $35. And you can get a bunch of junk these days, guys, for $30, $40. It's out there. Believe me, there is junk out there at that price. And this definitely doesn't fall into that category from everything I can see. And I am pretty happy with it. The Remet hand feel overview will be coming soon, and this one will be following afterwards. That'll do it, guys. If you're still here, thank you. I love you. If you're still here and you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button down below the video. You give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below, let me know what you think. Otherwise, guys, love you, and I'll catch you on the next one.